Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It is a live edition, a Thursday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the Morning, brought to you from the International Diamond Center Studios. Fine jewelry, watches, and much more. Family owned and operated with the largest selection of natural diamond jewelry. We're glad you're along for the ride. We should have Franz Beard here momentarily, get his thoughts on SEC Media Days. Today concludes the SEC Media Days in Atlanta. The last four schools attending will be Arkansas, Kentucky, Missouri, and the Aggies of Texas A&M. So get your thoughts and comments on what you saw yesterday from Billy Napier and the three Gators that attended. I'll give you my comments here shortly. But don't forget, Comfort Temp Heating and Air is your number one local HVAC company. Professional and experienced technicians keep you informed throughout the entire project. Go visit them at comforttemp.com. Comfort Temp Heating and Air. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. If you missed it yesterday, just the typical answers, comments from Coach Napier and Jake Slaughter, DJ Lagway, and Caleb Banks. Comments coming out. DJ says he feels pretty good going into the season, which is good news. Napier knows that very difficult schedule, number one most difficult schedule in America, but we'll be ready to spot the ball and go play. And I agree with that. Embrace it and enjoy. So as we wait for Franz Beard to hop on here, I got a couple of texts and comments on the Titan MR text line from Jim. Jim says, QB, it looks like DJ has always been healthy. Not sure why anybody worried. He said yesterday that he's ready to go. Well, Jim, yes. What is he going to say? I'm hurt? I don't think you've ever seen an athlete in front of the media talk about his injuries, but well, let's just hope DJ can stay healthy. I'm hoping he can be close to 100% when the season starts. And if not, Harrison Bailey will have to play some, but I think this team has a chance. I think a lot of people think the Gators have a chance to have an exceptional year. It'll be interesting to see today, after all the media vote, where they have the Gators. I'm going to say they have them around 6th in the conference, 6th or 7th. So we'll see. Let me pull this up here. I guess Franz overslept. All right. A couple of Facebook Lives brought to you by our good friends at Meldon Law. Buck says, DJ said, damn that schedule. Those teams have to play the Gators. That's very true. Andy wants to know on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law. Why was everyone asking our players about Jack Pyburn? Is he going to be that impactful at LSU? I didn't see any of that part of it. Jack's a good player. He may be a missing piece that LSU needed from, stopping the run, but he's a liability in passing situations. Buck also says, sound like a confident bunch yesterday. I think everybody, it's funny, it's talking season, right? If you watch SEC Media Days, regardless of what player or coach was at the podium or at the microphone, I really like this group. They're committed. They've worked hard. We're bigger, stronger, and faster than we were last year. Everybody's going to say that. So we got to get after it when it really matters, and that's on game day. So everybody wants to know where JC is. JC is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday guy. He takes Tuesdays and Thursdays off because he's a very, very busy man. Barone 71 wants to know, is Rocco Underwood still Florida's long snapper? I believe he is. I think he's got 1 year left. 1 year left. Tommy says Shane Gillis is a funny comedian. It may be not the right audience. I think you're referring to the ESPYs. I did not watch the ESPYs, but I saw his little monologue at the beginning on Twitter. It was pretty funny, I thought. Some people just can't take jokes in today's world and not take jokes. Ryan says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. QB, I watched some highlights of John Mateer yesterday. He is the real deal, Holyfield. Reminds me of Matt Corral, Will Greer. True. You know who he reminds me of? I'm a huge fan of him, man. Y'all heard me on this program. I think the Oklahoma Sooners are going to – now, they have like the fourth-rated most difficult schedule in America, and they have a stretch kind of like the Gators do, that four-game stretch. But they're solid on defense. They were nasty last year on defense. They just could not score points. They've had a ton of additions on offense. Offensive coordinator likes to throw it around. He's about 6'1", about 225. He reminds me of Baker Mayfield when I watch him play. He's also a very good runner. I think he had over 800 yards rushing last year. I think people who know nothing about him are going to be pleasantly surprised at what he brings the Oklahoma Sooners at quarterback. As I mentioned yesterday, I think Doring picked him to be the SEC Player of the Year. If I read that correctly. Would not surprise me. But Oklahoma is a team that, with the changes that they made, they could – I don't know if they're going to be a contender because of their schedule, but they're going to surprise some people. Brent will be on tomorrow, folks, because he is still at SEC Media Days, for those who are asking. The Pouncey twins, Mike and Marquise, invite you to try the mango martinis at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, handcrafted with their J.F. Hayden liqueurs. Try those flavors and shop at jfhaydens.com. Trying to read some of these. Joseph on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, says, DJ Lagway wanted you to know QB does not have a prosthetic arm. Yeah, but he does have a shoulder problem. I just, as I've stated, it's been documented. It is what it is. He will play through the pain as much as he can, and let's hope it gets better. But he will be ready to go. Yeah, Andy said John Mateer seems to have a little Baker Mayfield and Jim McMahon in him. He is Baker Mayfield made all over, in my opinion. Russell, YouTube brought to you by Quality Plum. Shane, did you see Slaughter talk about his pregame ritual of headbutting Sapp? I saw that. Most linemen do silly stuff like that. I've never understood it. Some do it with their helmet on, some do it with their helmet off. And let's hope he never gets a concussion. It'd be bad if the center does not know his responsibilities or misses the snap count. All right. We're still waiting on Franz. Maybe Franz is a no-show. As I've stated many times on this program, guests, you never know if they're going to show up or not. So that will be it. All right. Text here on the Titan MR text line from Will. Will says, Shane, I know you still have concerns about our defense. With Caleb Banks and Tyreek Sapp, I feel like our front will be pretty good. Give me your reasons why you don't like our defense. It's not that I don't like them. I thought they played better at the end of the year. I know they sacked Garrett Nussmeier a bunch, but hell, we gave up over 500 yards in both Ole Miss and LSU. We couldn't get off the field. I just have concerns. I just don't think we have dominating personnel on that side. I think we have clearly better players on the offensive side of the ball than we do defensively. I hope they prove me wrong, because I think for us to have this special year, or a year that excites Gator fans, that has us in the talk of the college football playoff in late October or mid-October, our defense is going to need to play well. So let me see here. I'm going to text Franz one more time. All right. John says depth is an issue. Depth's always an issue everywhere. I mean, we're deep at wide receivers. We're deep at running back. maybe some other positions. Large Fry says, do you think we need a new DC to attract more talent on D, or is it just a money issue? Again, like I said, I think we're talented over there. I just think we need game changers. I've talked about it many times on this program. As an offensive guy, when you watch tape of an opposing team, you look and you say, okay, who is the one guy that we cannot let affect the football game? We got to make sure we know where number so-and-so is at all times. We have a hat on a hat. We have 2 hats on him. We have 3 guys on him. And like I said, the last 2 players that I felt that way with the Florida Gators defensively are Dante Fowler and John Grenard. And that's been a long time. Fowler was when Muschamp played. It's been a really long time. Grenard was when Mullen was here with Todd Grantham when he came over from Louisville. And a lot of people think L.J. McCray can be that guy. I sure hope so, because he was highly, highly recruited. He has the body, the frame to do that. We need him to take another step for sure. Russell says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum Shane, it seems like the strength and conditioning program is working. Would you agree? I'm not a big strength and conditioning guy because I was never big, strong, or fast. I'm one of those guys that thinks that everybody in America does the same lifts and runs. Some guys are just stronger than others. Some guys are faster than others. But the last 3 or 4 months, everybody in America that plays football, regardless of what level, high school or college or pro, they're doing the same running and lifting. So anyway, Justin's question for me on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Do you think Harrison Bailey could win games if Flacco can't? Yes. Very, very highly recruited kid. He's in his 6th year, can throw the football really, really well. Okay. Let me see here. Let me get back to Facebook. Apologize. Don't know what's up with Fran. He texted me multiple times yesterday saying he was excited to come on. And now I'm stuck solo talking to listeners around the world. This text on the Titan MR text line says, well, I've already kind of discussed it. They wanted to know why I'm so high on John Mateer in the Oklahoma Sooners. I think he's a very good quarterback. He's accurate. I think he can make plays with his legs. He's very comfortable with the system because the new offensive coordinator at Oklahoma was with him at Washington State. So Oklahoma made a lot of additions at the skill positions. So he can kind of help coach them because he knows the system so well that they're going to be running. Another text here on the Titan MR text line from Larry. Larry wants to know my thoughts of Jake Slaughter. Well, Jake's an All-American, really good football player. He's over 300 pounds, but he doesn't look that big, right? He's smart. He understands angles. He understands leverage. We've had a couple of former players talk about him on here. When he gets beat, he recovers very, very well. But I will tell you this, as a quarterback, there's no better feeling knowing that your center is extremely smart and understands what's supposed to happen on every play. Because especially during the run checks in the running game, a lot of times you may not know where to check it. All you got to do is ask your center. He'll tell you. Be smart. And John Jett on YouTube says, Jake reminds him of Mike DeGore. Yeah, we had Mike on a couple of weeks ago. He talked very highly of Jake Slaughter. I didn't get to hear any of Caleb Banks' interviews. I don't know why. Maybe I quit watching or had it on the wrong channel or what have you. Justice says, centers are the QB of the O-line. Yep, no doubt. No doubt. All right, I think we're going to have JC join us. JC sits around watching the British Open, things of that nature, and loves to come on the program. So we're going to have JC join us here momentarily. There are many car washes in Gainesville, but only one Gallo Car Wash, locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes, with locations on Northwest 13th Street, Southwest Williston Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. I saw this yesterday on Twitter. We talked about the top offenses. This is by Pro Football Focus. I'll recap the offenses in order. Clemson, Penn State, Texas, Alabama, Florida, LSU, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Ohio State, and Oregon. PFF came out with their top defenses in America, and they have Alabama 1, Texas 2, Clemson 3, Georgia 4, Penn State 5, Notre Dame 6, Oregon 7, Ohio State 8, A&M 9, and Texas Tech 10. Hell, I guess Texas Tech's supposed to be pretty good this year. So, anyway, we got a great fill-in here. Corn Dog joined in.
Bill.
Corn Dog, were you watching the British Open?
You did. You caught me watching the USA Network, if you can believe that. Yes, I was watching that, and I was really excited to see. I'm kind of an old Lee Westwood fan because he's one of those guys that, even though he's a British player, he's come so close and never won anything, and never won a major. So I see him up there at the top of the leaderboard. The course is playing tough. It's wet and rainy. It's perfect for the, what we think of as the British Open conditions and how they should be and how they should test these players. And so it's fun to watch. It's early in the morning, though, and I'm glad to be here with you, QB. I just need to go get my football magazine and start catching up on some things, because what you were just rambling off surprised me somewhat in that, Alabama is thought of as having the number one ranked defense, and they were
again.
That's I know.
Again, this comes from Pro Football Focus, who sit in basements somewhere and they watch tape all day long.
Yeah,
and it's their rankings.
What the hell are they watching? I mean, that defense wasn't anything special last year that I can remember, but I guess they're watching something that they think is going to change. I don't hell if I know, but I did hear this. I've heard this now from two different sources that their defense is going to be reminiscent of what they had back in 2012, 2013, 2014, and that's hard for me to understand or believe, because those guys, they had NFL players, first and second rounders at every position. I don't see anything like that, but maybe I'm not just seeing something that they're seeing. I also love what I heard from Billy yesterday at the SEC Media Days when they asked him about the schedule, and all he simply said was spot the ball. I mean, I think when I look at this schedule and you ramble off all those metrics that you just did, and you look at all these teams Florida's playing, many of whom are going to be back-to-back games, they're not. They're embracing it, so it's it's going to be quite a run, I think.
Yeah, I was talking about these top 10 offenses and defenses that Pro Football Focus has rated here. I think the one thing that jumps out to me, obviously they got Notre Dame in the top 10 on both of them, but they have the Texas A&M Aggies in both of them.
Yeah,
top 10.
Right.
Are they supposed to, are they, I'd look at their offense, and I mean, I know they had trouble defensively last year because Mike Elko raised hell about it. They couldn't stop the pass. And so he is now, I think he is taking over the defense, which I've said it 100 times on this program. When you get a head coaching job, you got it because you did something well.
Yes.
And he was a damn good defensive coordinator everywhere he's been.
Everywhere.
So why let somebody else run it? So he's going to take that back over. But when I think of the Texas A&M Aggie offense,
right,
I don't think of a top 10 offense.
No, I don't. No, and I think, what's his name? Marcel Reed, is that his name? The quarterback.
Yes.
This is why I need my damn.
He's more of a runner.
Right. So exactly. So I've got to see it before I believe it on them. But I do think physically they'll be very good, and I think as a coach he knows what to do to get a roster put together that's going to be very competitive. I mean, if he can do it at Duke, I don't see why he can't figure out how to find players at Texas A&M for crying out loud. So, again, they are one of those unknowns for me. I just don't know what to make of them. They remind me of Missouri. I mean, They came into the SEC, I believe, at the same time, exact same time Missouri did. And I always thought, okay, well, those are good teams, I suppose, but at the time they weren't anything special. And Texas A&M is the type of school that should be competing for championships. So I don't think that they're going to be necessarily a championship team, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did win 10 games one year and basically beat somebody of high worth, so to speak. So I don't know what this Reed kid's capable of. I don't know what their running back situation is, but they're going to have talent all over the field, QB. You go out there on the field before the games and you walk around and you look at these kids, you know what you see, and what you see is going to be a lot of good-looking guys in uniforms. Whether they can play or not, we'll find out. But I think Texas A&M is going to have a pretty stacked roster, just like Texas will. And, of course, Florida gets to play those teams back-to-back. Again, it's crazy, but that's what we're looking at.
Speaking of that, William on the Titan MR text line says, Shane, what do you think our record needs to be in that 4-game stretch early in the season?
Yeah.
I think worst case scenario, it's got to be 2-2. Got to. If it's not, it ain't gonna be good.
Well, QB 2-2 would imply winning the first 2 and losing the next 2. I don't think that's going to make anybody happy, QB. I think.
Why does that? No. I'm not talking about Long Island and South Florida.
No, but you said first 4 games.
He's asking about LSU, Miami, Texas, and A&M. Those 4 games. 4 games in a row. I'm saying worst case scenario, we have to go 2-2 in that 4-game stretch.
Okay, I understand. All right.
I mean, would you agree with? I mean, you can't go 1-3 or 0-4.
No.
Obviously, I would love to go 3-1 or 4-0, but you got to be kind of realistic.
I think you're realistic. You're right. I think realistic. That's what we're looking at. But I think it has to include one of those games needs to be a win on the road, and I don't know if it will be or not. They may win both the home games. They may not win any of them. They may win all of them. But no, I think the key is that LSU game, QB. That LSU game is going to be such huge. And that's going to give us an indication of if this roster is ready for this. And he said yesterday this was the most talent he's ever had here at Florida, and it makes sense because he hasn't had much. But this is true. They've got, that orange and blue game, as much as I kind of dismissed that whole exercise, I think it showed us some exciting things. And granted, they were playing against air. I know that. And the quarterback's not in the game. I know that. And we just needed to see what kind of talent, what kind of speed, what kind of pass catching ability and route running ability do we have out there? And I thought we saw some of that. And luckily, the backup who played in that game was able to get the ball down the field to these kids. And so that was something that I think really opened people's eyes. And I think it, including myself, because I just love Dallas Wilson. And so in my mind there, I think it opened up some eyes, and it gives us some hope that, hey, they've got athletes on this roster that can run around with these LSU kids. And it should be that way because they beat the hell out of them last year, and they're going to play a different team this year, granted, but they're going to be better too, hopefully. So that's what we have to go on, QB. And I'm going to do a lot more homework and research today. I'll be ready tomorrow with more, but some more things that I can add to this. You kind of caught me getting off the plane, so to speak, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you're coming out of the bullpen, JC.
Yeah, I'm okay with
it. Dan says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, Texas Tech spent $28 million on this class. Look, I don't know much about Texas Tech. I do know that they had really good offense last year. They were the fastest offense in all of America. I mean, snaps, how quick they got the ball snapped. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see. I'm not worried about Texas Tech, but they're spending a lot of money there. For sure.
Texas Tech is spending money. They're investing heavily, and they've got money out there in Midland. So I think it's going to be – we're going to see some teams this year that we haven't accustomed – I don't think that we've been accustomed to watching really be better than what we're used to. And maybe that's one of those teams. I don't know. I just think that it's going to be a little bit more spread out than just the Ohio State, the Georgia, and the Michigan and Alabama type of name. I think, like you said, Oklahoma's going to be a lot better. They've hit Skid Row here recently. They certainly have. Texas has kind of won the Southeastern Conference over with the way they've played in the last 2 years, getting to the football playoff semifinals. So I expect to see that, but I also expect to see some other teams really stepping forward and making like Notre Dame last year. Did anybody see them going 11-1 and getting to the championship game? The answer is no, especially after that second week when they lost to Northern Illinois. And I was just in Chicago, by the way, and they're still talking about that up there. They still talk about that game. It's unbelievable. That's the thing that they talk about the most. Forget the fact that Notre Dame beat the snot out of Georgia. They're talking about the fact that Northern Illinois still won. They beat Notre Dame. They're kind of strange about that up there. But at any rate, I think we're going to see a lot of exciting stuff, and we're going to see some teams break out and make hay that we're probably not accustomed to seeing. Usually, it's like a Duke or somebody like that. But I think we're gonna see some surprises this year. I really think that.
Greg on the Titan MR Tech. Yeah, Greg on the Titan MR text line wants to know, JC, what did you think of Kalen DeBoer's comments at SEC Media Day?
He was right. That did not live up to their standard. I mean, they just did not live up to their standard. Again, I said yesterday, they won some good games last year, but some of the losses are inexplicable. And losing to Tennessee never is good, but losing to Vanderbilt is unheard of. Losing to an Oklahoma team that barely won 6 games is ridiculous. And then going off and running LSU off the field in Baton Rouge doesn't make any sense to me. So they did that. And so I'm not sure really what to expect. They think that Ty Simpson is going to be worthy of leading this team, and he's going to have a lot of pressure on him, but I think he's ready for it. Mac Jones sat on his ass for 2 years before he came out there and played like a Heisman Trophy candidate, and he threw for 4,000 yards. Now, he had an NFL team behind him on offense, but I don't know what Ty Simpson's got around him. I really, honestly, God, don't know.
What's interesting, JC? I don't know what made me just think of this when you brought up Mac Jones, A.J. McCarron, these guys.
Jake Coker. Yeah.
Yeah, but think about Alabama has had some so-called dual threat guys, right?
Yeah.
Hurts, the dude that just left.
Right.
But they didn't win any titles with those guys, did they?
No, none. Now,
every title was with the drop back thrower.
The title was with the drop back thrower. Hurts was on a roster, but he didn't play and win that championship against Georgia. That was Tua. And you're right. The drop back passers are the guys that Jacob freaking Coker. I mean, I think it was in his 6th year when he won the national championship with Alabama, and he was just a big 6'5" guy that dropped back through the ball. Now, he had a couple times when he scrambled around, but he was not a runner. He was a passer. Blake Sims, the guy who's got the school record for passing yardage, was a passer. But you would have thought he could run the ball a little bit around. But he passed the ball. Lane Kiffin showed him what to do. And so that's how Alabama wins, with those kinds of quarterbacks. And I think that's what we're looking at right now. You've got this guy Ryan Grubb, who's coming from the Seahawks to lead that offense as the offensive coordinator, who was what DeBoer wanted last year. And instead he had to settle for this Nick Sheridan guy. But now they've got Ryan Grubb back in there, and I think it's going to help Ty Simpson immensely. He was a big shot at Tennessee. We'll see if he can wait his turn now and play well. He's going to have to, or else there's going to be a lot of problems up there. So we'll see.
Well, I don't know why I've never really dug into this, and I'm probably not going to, but it just came to my thought process when you brought that up. But, JC, listen to your last these national champs.
All right.
Tell me who was a dual threat guy. Did Ohio State have a dual threat quarterback last year?
No.
Did Michigan when they won?
I think JJ can run, but no, he was a passer.
I mean, here's what I'm saying. Can they scramble and make? Yeah. But did Jim Harbaugh call in his own reads?
No, hell no.
Yeah. Okay. Georgia goes back to back.
Yes.
With Stetson Bennett.
Yes.
He could run around, but they didn't call in his own reads for him.
No.
Alabama wins in 2020 with Tua. Joe Burrow, LSU.
Well, that was Mac Jones. They won it with in 20, but they won it with Tua in 2018. So
2020 was Mac Jones.
Right.
2019 LSU, Joe Burrow.
Yes.
2018 was Clemson. Who was that? Trevor Lawrence,
and then you had 2017 Tua. That's right. I mean, that's it. So that's a great point you pulled out. I think when you go on all these other nationwide podcasts today, QB, when you get called up by all these other podcast shows to come be their guests, you need to make that point. You need to point that out, QB.
I never thought about it till now.
Yeah. Well, it's all true. Everything you said is absolutely true. And that kid that played for Ohio State last year was just, he came alive. He came alive in the playoffs. It's hard to explain. But Quinn Ewers took Texas to the playoffs. He's definitely not a runner. And I think that kid from Arizona State that played last year, the way he threw the ball was pretty impressive in the playoff game.
And when it comes down to winning at a high level,
yeah,
you got to have a dude that can complete passes.
Oh, absolutely.
That's simple.
It's a lot easier to get 25 yards in the ground. I mean, in the air than it is running the football, one time. So, yeah, I agree with you, QV. Throw that damn thing, and that's what Lagway's feeling good about. I think Lagway is ready.
That's why I think he's a really good thrower. I think he's a much better thrower than he is a runner. Much better.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that. Absolutely agree with that.
Here's one of our listeners that is always complaining on the Titan MR text line. I have no name here, but he says JC needs an Alabama show and Shane needs a golf show.
I mean, we're talking SEC football, homeboy, and I mentioned. I'm not even going to explain myself. Screw it. We're trying to wrap this around a big presentation of football that has this conference leading the conversation, with Florida being the focus. But this is look, when the University of Florida wants to pay me money to promote, I'll do it. But I talk about it because I'm in Gainesville and these are Gator fans and I went to the school. So it's okay, guy. Don't get upset.
You don't have to explain anything.
I just don't understand these people.
Well, they don't have to listen. It's simple.
Yeah, but they
don't have to listen. Just
they want to. They want to listen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So JC, we're talking about, you like what Billy said and all that.
I did.
I know that, but have you ever, in all your years, either being at a media days or watching it on the SEC network or whatever, have you ever seen a coach say something you didn't like?
Yeah, right. That's right. And I no. And typically that's how this goes, right? But that was a good answer for what that question was. Instead of saying,
well, what is my answer? What was my answer last year? It wasn't spot the ball. It was about the schedule. It was embrace it.
Well, that's right. Yeah, embrace it. And listen, they pulled together 8 wins with the bowl game victory over Tulane, who had a quarterback that couldn't throw the football. But oh
my gosh,
that was the worst thing I ever seen on a college football.
I don't know. I think I even said it on the broadcast that was maybe the worst.
Yeah.
Quarterback play I've ever seen at the collegiate level.
And
I've never seen anything like it. And he was a 5-star.
Yeah.
He was a 5-star that transferred from Oregon.
Yeah, but QB,
I'd rather have the Williston quarterback playing for me.
But you know what? All the overbettors on the Florida win total came and cashed their ticket last year. All right, in spite of that grueling schedule, which it was hard, but they came back from that Georgia game, or no, they came back from that Texas game where they really had no business playing with all those hurt players. They came back from that Texas game and they competed against LSU and Mississippi, and they won. So I expect to see that type of performance again this year, and hopefully these guys can stay healthy. I know that injuries are part of the game and everybody suffers them, but let's just hope Florida gets lucky, because I think they're going to need some good luck to get through the schedule on the health front. And if these guys are healthy, if they stay healthy, that's really going to give Florida a good shot. I got lawn service guys going right now. I got dogs barking at lawn service guys. So I'm going to try to speak loud enough so the guy who's upset with us talking about Alabama and golf can hear us.
JC, you get rattled way too much about what people say.
So are you saying I couldn't be?
You couldn't. There's no way in hell. No way in hell, JC. Your feelings get hurt. Hey, speaking of that, we got a text here on the Titan MR text line from Joe. Joe wants to know, JC, who is your favorite person to listen to in the media? Now, I'm not sure what he's referring to. I don't know if he's talking about like Chris Fowler, Herb Street, Jordan Rogers.
No,
He didn't really say.
I tell you who I like. I like as a play-by-play announcer. I'll get to the others, but I like Gus Johnson on Fox. I really like him because I love his tone, his tenor,
Passion.
and the way his passion, the way he gets excited. He elevates the broadcast. Okay, in my opinion, some people think it's over the top, but that's just me. As far as listening to a commentator, Herb Street is very good. I really like him. I'm kind of getting into this Joe Klatt a little bit more because what Joe Klatt brings are some different ideas. Like he had this idea about the football playoff and how he would execute that playoff scenario that was different than what we're hearing from the athletic director and the presidents and the conference commissioner. So I think I like Klatt a little bit. As far as I'll tell you what, I think you're outstanding as a color guy. I think you've got the background to bring a lot of passion to the game and emotion. We can tell if you're unhappy. We can tell if you're happy, and that's exactly what a school sponsored or hired or the guy that's representing that school should be. Should not be some monotone, boring guy that gets you down I-10. You need somebody like you. I like listening to you a lot, and so I think those are some of my favorites.
All right. Well, I don't know what the listener was asking, but you just went by color analyst and play-by-play. Let me ask you, how about the studio guys?
Well, in the studio, I'm starting to watch more of these gambling shows than I am just the regular shows that break down games. But I think in the studio, it's I like Rick Neuheisel. I think Rick Neuheisel, well, obviously he knows the game. He's got a lot of experience. I think he's good on CBS. I think Rick Neuheisel knows what he's talking about. They all know what they're talking about, but I would rather listen to Rick Neuheisel than some other guy probably that's next to him there. And to me, it's not just knowledge of the game, but you got to have presence and you've got to have some pizzazz. And not necessarily over the top, but Gus Johnson is my favorite play-by-play guy. I just think I really get into the game watching him. He holds the viewer to me. He doesn't lull you to sleep and then come the commercials and you're on your phone, I like Gus Johnson because I want to hear his touchdown calls. I want to hear his big play calls. And some people don't like that style, but I'm not some people. So this is how I go, and this is what I like. And that's probably how I would do it if I were doing it.
Russell on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, "Did you guys see the new Swinging Gator hoodie? I saw it. Got way too much on it for me. It's got it's too busy. It's got like the state of Florida, Florida Gator, Florida Golf and script, the Swinging Gator. If that's the one you're referring to, it's too busy for what I like. I just like the small little logo left chest."
I thought of another one, QB. I've always thought of Gene Deckerhoff with the Tampa Bay Bucks. And I think he also does Florida State. He was
not anymore. He's retired from them.
Okay, but he was there. The Tampa Bay Bucks. I enjoyed him. See, I like these guys. So the opposite of somebody like that would be a David Steele. Very professional, outstanding, but he doesn't hold me the same way that a Gene Deckerhoff does. And so I would prefer somebody like that. Paul Kennedy, I'm not a big fan of at all. Never really got into him. He's just too boring to me. I don't want the Chris, the guy on Fox that always does. Who's that guy? Chris. He does the Fox games with the Carolina Panthers every week. It seems. He's like this, and I think of it. And it's first down as Bryce Johnson is sacked again. What do you think is going on? Yeah, he does it. Chris.
Oh, you're talking about the dude that he does the Bucks games too. He used to be on ESPN. I know Chris. What is his name? It's terrible.
Yeah,
he's always stuck with like one of the.
Yeah, he doesn't get. Bad. Yeah, and then some of these ex-athletes. I'm not a big fan of RG3. I don't really like Mark Jones. I'm not a big fan of those guys.
No.
But I do love Andre Ware. I think Andre Ware is excellent. Andre Ware is very good. And for some reason, they bury Andre Ware on the noon games. They got to get Andre Ware into some more primetime games. I think he's very good, much better than some of these other guys that they have out there. It's trial and error, really.
Oh, yeah. Sean McDonough is my favorite play-by-play guy right now. O'Brien,
he's up there
on
for
YouTube,
sure.
brought to you by Quality Plumbing. He says, QB, if Billy pulls off a SEC championship with a Billy derangement syndrome, fans quiet down.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know.
They don't even have to win. They don't even have to win the SEC championship. Win 9 games.
What if he gets to just a playoff as an at-large? How would that be?
That's the most important thing right now.
It is. You emphasize the SEC championship game and all that, and that's true. But we are going above and beyond that now, I think. Great event, very passionate, lots of excitement. But now it's moving on to bigger and better things. So
Chris Myers is the guy.
That's him.
Thanks,
yeah.
Kyle.
That doesn't do it for me. Sean McDonough is great. He's had some of the greatest calls I've ever heard in all sports, not just football. He can do it all. He can do it all. He is outstanding. So I mean, look, these guys are who we grew up watching and listening to, and the guy I grew up with is a Florida Gator fan on the radio on WRUF AM 850 was Otis Boggs. He was before we had who just retired. Jesus, what's wrong with me?
Mick Hubert.
Mick Hubert was Otis Boggs, and Otis Boggs.
Well, no, it was like David Steele.
Oh, it was
David Steele. Then Mick, right?
You're right. Then it was Mick. Okay, so it was David Steele. See, David Steele didn't do it for me, but he's a fine announcer. But Otis Boggs was who I grew up with. I can still hear that guy's voice. But yeah. This is good stuff.
This day in sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. 1983 British Open at Royal Birkdale. Tom Watson wins his 5th Open championship, 1 stroke over Gator Andy Bean and Hale Irwin.
Wow.
This day in sports brought to you by, Andy Bean, the late great Andy Bean. I played in several, not several, maybe 4 or 5 events. Andy Bean was there in my group, and he had the biggest, thickest hands of any human being I've ever seen in my life.
There you go.
Crazy.
Right now we got Scheffler at 2 under. He's tied for 6. Fitzpatrick -3. It seems like every Danish golfer is either named Olesen or Højgaard. Those 2 guys are in the top 5. Nikolai is at -2, and some guy named Jay Olesen is -4. I'm going to watch this all weekend long, dude. This is it. I mean, this is the last golf tournament for me until the Ryder Cup, and then that's during football season, so that's kind of hard also.
You're not going to watch the Tour Championship?
I mean, I maybe. I don't know. I'm going to be.
They changed the rules now, JC. They don't have that 5-stroke leader anymore. It's real golf.
That makes it a lot better for me. Yes.
Do you think Haotong Li is going to hang on to the lead?
No. Where QB? What is that flag? Haotong Li is from where? QB? Can you guess?
He's got to be. That's a Chinese flag. Isn't
That's
it?
right. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right. We have a text here on the Titan MR text line. This is interesting. JC, are you excited, or are you going to bet on UNLV football with Mullen as the head coach?
I might. It's all about the numbers.
JC, what league are they in?
Mountain West, or is it the Pac-12 now? I think it's the Mountain West.
They're in the league with Boise, right?
Yeah. And I think I think the Pac-12 is absorbing the Mountain West, or there's some merger. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think I saw that. But yeah, they're in the same league as the Boise State, as the Utah State, the Nevada, Reno, the Fresno State, I believe. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know much about their team, but they may
Dan's
have a chance in that league.
Dan's out there. He's going to show these guys how to get the ball in the end zone. So
take the over.
I think you do. I do believe in that. And they'll adjust for that. But boy, it's only 7 Saturdays away. So it's
All right, before we get you out of here, JC,
right.
You did a tremendous job coming in on the bullpen.
Right.
Kyle, I think we touched on this. Kyle must be late to the program. He says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. What did you guys think of Florida Media Day and the interviews yesterday?
Yeah.
I thought their interviews and stuff were exactly the carbon copy of every other team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think all 16, how many teams do we have? 16 teams in the league?
Mm-hmm.
I think if you took the speech of the head coach for every team, they're all the same.
Sounded that way. Yeah.
And about every player.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was good to hear Arch Manning say he doesn't understand this Heisman talk. He says, I've played 2 games. So he goes, I don't know why people are saying that. That's the right answer. A lot of pressure on him. I think he's ready for it, though. I do. Just like I think Tyson was ready.
I don't know if you saw this, but I don't know if people obviously saw how Arch was dressed. Like, a lot of people said he looked like a frat boy. But his dad, Cooper, flew out there to help get him dressed or pick out his outfit. And he looks like a typical Manning.
Oh, yeah.
They all dress like that. They all look like they go to Ole Miss, right? That's right. How Ole Miss guys dress.
That's Mississippi, baby.
Anyway.
That's Louisiana, Mississippi. Yeah,
that's the Mississippi thing. Yep.
Yeah, no doubt.
No doubt. JC, good stuff as always.
All right.
Have some good Peachland Dental picks for like after the first round, although the second round will be started by the time we come on tomorrow. So anyway, if people want to follow JC on Twitter and get some great picks, what is your Twitter handle?
At JC Says Bet. JCSEZBET. At JC Says Bet. I'm going to get ready to load those up. And I got the golf ones. I've already started hammering some of these British Open winning bets. I like to do top 5 and top 10 as well. So, yeah, we're going to do that. And tomorrow is another day. We'll be back here talking more football and golf. Hopefully, everybody will enjoy it.
JC going overtime. That's what he does. JC, join us on the Tight Number Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tip. Quick timeout. We'll come back, wrap this thing up, and thank God JC joined us. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Meals Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
Coach, it always impressed me how you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spur's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave, Los Landeros tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Ruth Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. I want to thank JC for joining in. Maybe we'll get Franz on another time. Text on the Titan Mark text line from Jesse. He says, Shane, did you go to SEC Media Days when you were in college? Yes. I can't remember if I went 2 times or 1 time, but I did go. That's back when it was in Hoover every year. I think most media guys like having it in Birmingham/Hoover more than they do moving it around. But yeah, I went to Media Day. It was nothing like it is now. Trust me. It's pretty cool now for these kids to get the opportunity to do what they do. A lot of media outlets, obviously, and especially with the SEC network, makes it big time for them. I thought the 3 players and Coach Napier all did a fine job yesterday. And now it is, they get cranked up in less than 2 weeks. So it should be a lot of fun. Again, appreciate everybody with all their comments, questions for myself and JC. And we'll be here tomorrow. And hope everybody has a great day. Take care.